I cut it up because it is a little bit hard sometimes to cut up. The best way to do it, somebody in one of the classes said, because it's got a really hard skin, and it's, you know, it's a squash, and it's got this is the stem side, so it's got like a little bulb at the bottom where the seeds are. If you put this in the microwave, you don't have to prick it or anything. Just put it in the microwave for like a minute, minute and a half, depending on the size of your butternut squash. It will make it a whole lot easier to peel and cut. You're not cooking it. Don't put it in there for 10 minutes, because if you put it in there for 10 minutes without pricking it, oh, trust me, don't do that. So, but it makes it easier to peel and easier to cut, and all you would have to do is peel it, cut it, take the seeds out, and then just dice it up however you want to cook it. But that's a good little tip. If you just took it like this, it's kind of hard to peel. Well, we're going to get started with, we've got 2 tablespoons of oil here, again with the olive oil, and we've got our chuck. This is just, I did use the certified Angus chuck roast, just because it makes it a little bit, or it is a little bit more tender than the regular chuck roast. Those of you who attended the certified Angus beef class we had a few months ago, which was, now didn't we eat good at that class? Yeah. That was a good class. I got to talk to those guys, see if they'll be willing to come back again soon. But it's just a little bit better cut of meat. So we're going to heat up our oil a little bit. We're going to cut some onion. And I cut a lot of onion today. I didn't cut it all. And this is just, we're just going to, since this is kind of a stew, it's got some, you know, we want some big pieces there. We're just going to not dice this, but kind of cut it in just little thin things. I'm going to put a piece in there to see when our oil's ready. That's a good way to see that your oil is ready. Just put a piece of what's going to go in there in it. I know sometimes in class, to hurry things up, I put whatever in the oil before it's quite ready. But you'll be able to see, you can hear it, see it bubbling around the onion. And then you'll know to put anything in, and that's you have less oil absorption when you have the oil hot. Okay. This looks like it's ready. I'm going to go ahead and put the onion in. Ooh, that's what you want to hear. And we're going to put the beef in. Like I said, I just cut it regular chuck roast, just cut it in little pieces. I'm sorry? You can use the stew beef if you like. It saves from cutting that. You can, you know, one other thing, because this can also be put in your crock pot. You know, we did crock pot cooking last week, but this kind of thing could be put in the crock pot. You know, you do this part, and then when you get ready to put everything else in, then put it all in the crock pot. But by using the stew meat, you might have to cook it a little bit longer to make that tender, or buy the tenderized stew meat. Okay. Let me get this. I think we have to have a little garlic in here. We've got 2 teaspoons of garlic. Okay. This is good to just have on the stove cooking because it smells so wonderful. All right, we're going to let that cook a little bit while we get everything else ready. And what I've here is a can of beef broth. We're going to put in a small can of tomato sauce. We've got some Worcestershire sauce. Did I say that? Don't ask me to pronounce that again. And I've got some allspice, some dry mustard here, and a little bit of pepper. So that's going to go in here. And then the squash. And then we're just going to let that cook. And it will be good. I'm going to go ahead, I think, and put this in, our spices. We may have to do one of these things where we've got like the plates turning. Start something else here. The butternut squash, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, is it's kind of like a sweet potato in sort of texture, and I want to say maybe in taste a little bit. It's a little bit sweeter, so but it's not so sweet that you go, ooh, what's that? So I think it's really good. It's a good way to introduce vegetables for your family when they don't know what it is. In fact, you know, in this class I don't usually test the recipes before today, the actual day of the class. But I looked at this recipe and I thought, you know, I don't think there's enough juice in here. So I wanted to test it before I wrote up the recipe. So I did. I made it for my family, and I used the butternut squash. And my husband is the meat and potatoes. You know that doesn't come in when he sees what we're having. Although he did make it to the certified Angus beef class. Funny. And he didn't say anything. My daughter did say, what is this, sweet potato? And I went, no. Didn't elaborate on that at all. And it's really good. Okay, we're going to let that just cook a little bit. Then we're going to put a little bit of cornstarch and water in there just to kind of thicken it up. And a bag of mixed vegetables. I have chosen Florentine style, which has cauliflower and broccoli and carrots. If you wanted to do the smaller ones, the peas and the little carrots and the green beans, that's fine. Whatever you like as far as vegetables is good. Okay, so we're going to let that cook a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put in our vegetables and but before I put the vegetables in, I am going to use the cornstarch and a little bit of cold water. And like I said, this would be a good recipe to put in the crock pot. Once you get the meat and the onions sort of browned, then throw everything else in your crock pot. There's our cornstarch, a little thickening, our vegetables, and then we'll just turn it down and let it go. Ooh, I didn't open this. If you put it in the crock pot, you could put it in for what you would put for chuck roast, maybe like 3, 4, 5 hours. It's not going to, have it on low. It's not going to hurt anything. It's just going to keep cooking. You might want to, if you know you're going to cook it for longer than that, you might not want to put the frozen vegetables in, because they sort of flash, whatever. All right, I'm going to put this over here.